The DLC for Payday 2, the Ukrainian job. Wait. No, we already have that. This is the better Ukrainian job. Specifically, the Ukrainian prisoner, Vlad. Another breakout heist. Just what we need. Another breakout. We already have Hoxton. We already have Bane. And now we have Vlad. Great. What's next? Locke? Maybe Bile? I don't know. Anyways, overall, it's great. I think it's pretty good. I think it's fantastic. I don't think it's something overly used in terms of other DLC or heists or a lot of copy and paste as we've seen in the previous stuff. But hey, as for what Overkill did, overall, I think it's great. The atmosphere is definitely a little bit chilling, especially when you get to the near end of the heist, when you get a sudden phone call from the triad leader of some sort. Anyways, I don't care about lore. Nonetheless, I do like the dark sky. I do like how nice and bright and visible things are. They're not as terrible as, say, the escape heists in the past, where you really can't see shit. And you got Zeal heavies doing 225 across the map, and you're like, what the hell? Ah! Yeah, it's dumb. I do like the lots of space and lots of cover in the map. It's great. So, again, overall, I think it's a great step in the direction. However, I will say, when playing this, it definitely feels like DLC. Like, it feels like something that is kind of out of place, not necessarily meant for Payday, but it does have that kind of some person made it from the mod workshop kind of feeling. But it's definitely a good step in the direction of trying to try different things, or at least experiment and have some unique feeling to it. But I'm not going to go into the full details of what I'm going to say, maybe who made it. I don't know. Overall, the heist is still pretty good. I think it's great. It kind of gives that gauntlet feeling like you're at the end of some mission, especially with a lot of standard objectives that you're used to. You know, do this hack, do this drill, whatever. But once you get to the exit, when you start escorting Vlad, it starts to become a gauntlet where you have to fight multiple scripted spawns or force spawns, however you want to call it, and then dozers that can come inside the crates when you need to get the last objectives. It puts a lot of pressure on the players, and I think that's great, because a little bit of a sudden spike in challenge is always good, not too much, and definitely not too little. The map does give a lot of places for cover, movement, and frankly, I think it's a bit too much. But maybe this is their way of trying new things once again. But this is kind of alluding to maybe it was made something in Mod Workshop by another person. Again, I don't know. Overkill's always trying new things, and that's cool. Speaking about new things, there's definitely lots of RNG variation, especially on Loud and Stealth. Even with the new Choose Your Own Path, I think that's pretty neat, even though one path seems to be a lot better than the other one, personally. I don't like the left boat choice when you got to go up the ramp, because obviously it's less cover, and the ramp itself tends to be a little glitchy. I died at the top because it's not a perfect stair, and yeah, that was annoying. Whatever. Had to deal with it. But it doesn't affect too much in terms of RNG or gameplay, so that's awesome. So again, new stuff, I think it's great. The one issue with the whole choose your own path and the RNG variations, whatever, is the heist is not very Joker friendly. So if your build is running a lot of Joker skills, you might want to keep your heads up and make sure that you still got your partner in crime. Yeah, I went there, didn't I? Anyways, keep an eye on your Jokers, honestly. The game likes to eat them with the choosing of the path in lots of various places. But I do like the fact that you can definitely, go left or go right, or whichever's easier, whatever, who picks, doesn't matter. As for the balance of the map, I think it's relatively good. I tested a few weapons from snipers, assault rifles, pistols, LMGs. They all seem to perform relatively well. Lots of cover, lots of close encounters, and a few long-range encounters, so it's not too terrible. I think it's pretty good. Again, they did a pretty good job on it all. The neat little thing that really stood out to me was obviously what everybody was saying. You have if you get the RNG where you have to drill the turret to get some gas to smoke out a guy for a keycard, it's definitely putting a lot of emphasis of working as a team to take care of the turret. You can get a lot of chip damage done before the first assault when the turret drives in because it pops up for some weird reason. And if you guys got yourself together, you can take it down pretty quickly. If you don't capitalize on taking that turret down, it's definitely going to take a lot of beating on your team. I don't think it's that big of a deal in terms of difficulty, because I mean, like, killing turrets is pretty standard in DSOD. Shotguns will definitely have a bit of an issue with it, but if you got explosives, take out the shield, then use the rest of the weapons to take care of the glassy parts of the turret, and you should be fine. Otherwise, I think it's pretty neat. As for the difficulty stuff, again, it's relatively easy. I did have some struggles with bots. When I did it the first couple times, took me a couple resets, finally figured it out, and it was relatively good to go. If your team or your bots aren't going to be killing, yeah, you're definitely going to need to pack a lot of DPS or something to take out a lot of AoE. There's definitely a lot of channels and cover to go to and from, so it's not that bad. It's definitely a WhiteHouse, but easier. So if you're wanting to do a little bit more optimized heist than WhiteHouse, yeah, this is it. So when it comes to the optimization, it's definitely well done. Since, you know, I kind of forgot to mention that. But overall, it's relatively easy. You gotta have a bit of sustain in your ammo or your health because it is a gauntlet. You are just constantly fighting spawn after spawn after spawn. Snipers in this map aren't too much of a problem. The only biggest challenge of the map is, quite honestly, the beginning part where you gotta get all the information before getting into the warehouses. The warehouse spawns can be a little bit tricky if left unattended, but keeping an eye out for the outside snipers are pretty visible. I don't think they're in cheap or unfair locations. As for the other snipers, they tend to spawn in the helicopters as you continue out throughout the map. There is some that spawn on the containers when you get to the very end, so it's not too difficult. However, for the most part, it's capitalizing on spawn trapping and making sure that you replace your jokers in case they get eaten up. Those are the big two. Just keep an eye on spawns and keep an eye on your jokers, and this heist is relatively easy. So that's all my thoughts for the harder, more technical stuff. It's not too complicated of a heist. I will give credit where credit is due. I am so happy I don't have to yell at Matt when I play Heat Street when I do this, because holy shit, that is annoying. So when Vlad goes inside that little bulldozer or whatever bobcat, you can peacefully relax and escort him throughout the entire heist, no problem. As for the price, it's definitely steep once again, but I'd say it's better than the one for Dragon Heist. Dragon Heist felt a little more copy-pasted in terms of how the whole operation gets played out when you run the heist. Very similar to Hoxton Revenge and other stuff we've seen in the past. The music for the heist is pretty good. I'd say it's enjoyable, but it's definitely not something you're going to headbang yourself to all the time. And lastly is the outfits. I think the outfits are getting a little ridiculous. I'm not sure what it was a couple of years ago, but I swear we're slowly starting to become Roblox characters. I mean, just look at Dallas here. I don't get it. The outfits are becoming more and more square. And do I see any similarities with Roblox? I think. I don't know. It's a popular game. I've never played it, never will, so I'd advise getting the outfits on sale or just do what other people do and get some mods and run with legendary armor skins. Woohoo! As for other patch notes, the muscle perk deck was apparently getting buffed. I mean, it was above average for other perk decks. I mean, it was just as good as Crew Chief if you had first aid kits and however sustained you want to play with. Muscle was very good. Now it's even better. I don't know why. And Overkill said it was meant for Death Wish? I mean, holy shit. We just nerfed normal difficulty. How much lower do we need to go? Anyways, the build in the background is me playing Muscle. What I did was use first aid kits with Quick Fix Ace and Underdog Ace. You can become really tanky. I know it's a lazy setup with a 255 sniper, but I'm in the midst of trying to get something a little bit more flexible for other people to use for a muscle build. But nonetheless, if you want to take the Crew Chief Sniper build I set up, you can run something very similar to it. And it works very good. You can really sustain with it, because that's what muscle perk deck is. Sustain HP, you can take a lot of shots and be out there living in the field as opposed to being dead. Definitely has a lot of HP to work with, and I don't know why Overkill thought it was a good idea to buff it. Like I said, it was above average in terms of the perks amongst other perks in the game. The neat thing about these changes for muscle is that you can technically 3-shot with your health against 3 Zeal 225 hits. Muscle's passive, if you're at full HP, will immediately regenerate some of that health. It's exactly the same as Hostage Taker, but again, it only works at full health immediately. So if you take a 225 hit, Hostage Taker or Muscle's passive will immediately heal part of that lost HP, and then you can take yourself 2 more shots and still live. So it's a technical 3-shot setup with Muscle now. And with Quick Fix Ace and a bit of Underdog Ace, it's insanely fun. I was enjoying it when I was running this during this heist. But it's not as good as Stoic or Kingpin, and yeah, that's another thing I forgot to mention. Overkill's lovely spaghetti coating. Apparently Kingpin was buffed during the same time Muscle was. So Kingpin was even better than it was. And I'm glad they fixed it. Took them a couple attempts, but hey, I'm glad that's over and done with. But hopefully this means other perk decks are getting buffed, because there's a lot of overshadowed ones that aren't up to snuff when it comes to, say, Stoic, Kingpin, Hacker, Anarchist, Armor, Crew Chief, Sociopath, Muscle. And that's just half the perk decks I listed. I mean, hell, I just made a best 5 perk deck video build thingy. I don't know. It's been a couple days. Lastly is the stealth. Yes, I did run a lot of stealth on this map, and it takes about 10 minutes with a decent team just to get her done. And with the secret, getting more loot, you can get over 2 mil EXP, or 2.5 mil, whichever you guys plan to take on. So within 10 minutes for that much EXP, it makes a really fun, enjoyable heist to get quick EXP or just to have fun. It's very relaxing. And with the RNG elements that is given to make you guys, do whatever set objectives, it's very enjoyable. It's almost like a shadow raid with a bit of mixed RNG elements, with all the cool little crates, all the neat little things you gotta turn and twist. I think it's sweet. Good job on the stealth part. Anyways, I think that's enough me rambling. Overall, again, probably one of the better DLCs. I totally recommend getting it. Or just wait for it to go on sale if you want to save a penny or two. But yeah, hope this video was good. I know it was a bit on the later side because I like to thoroughly do things and check things and make sure things are well done, as opposed to spoon-feeding rush content, because that's totally not my thing. But yeah, nonetheless, enjoy the rest of the gameplay as we finish off the heist, and until then, I'll see you next time. I need new Joker. Dude, the setup is nutty. Absolutely nutty. I got beaten by Foxy just by a couple. Unbelievable.